I don't know if I have a favorite cop movie.
Well, you don't just sit there and watch Cops every day at 4 o'clock, do you?
I can't stand watching law enforcement shows. Like people,
You live it every day.
I just don't want to.
You know?
I don't want to see it. Right.
I'll pass on that.
I also don't want to start debunking it because that gets on my wife's nerves. Right. Because like everything they do on television is nonsense. Like I love how they get DNA back in a matter of minutes. And it's like it takes us 6 to 8 months to get it back.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all drunk.
Welcome back to Path to Possible, the podcast where we explore leadership, resilience, and the choices that shape the stronger communities. I'm your host, Mike Sage, and today we're diving into the world of public service and community safety. Joining me today is Chief Dave Maddona, Chief of Police at Prospect Park, with years of experience on the front lines and in leadership. Chief Maddona has dedicated his career to protecting and serving while building trust and transparency within the community. Today, we'll talk about the challenges of modern policing and what it takes to lead a department of times of change and the values that guide him both in uniform and beyond. It is an important and timely conversation. Let's get into it. Dave, welcome. Or
Michael,
I'm sorry, Chief?
Dave's fine.
All right.
Please, yeah, Dave's fine.
All right.
Yeah. It's good for my humility.
Yeah, I dig it. So, hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Really
It's
happy
great
to
be
have you on here.
Thank you.
What made you want to be a police officer?
I think I was raised with a strong sense of right and wrong. I think my father gave me his work ethic. I think my mom gave me compassion for people. And I think, those two things merged for me and led me down this path. I actually started when I was 16. I worked in Gimbels on 69th Street. Gimbels, which I think most people associate Gimbels with Elf, the movie Elf, right? But I was carrying mattresses and air conditioners out to people's car. It was a brutal job, and I saw security guards doing what they were doing, and I thought, wow, that seems really interesting, and ended up transitioning into that position, and but it really, and I kind of was in the security field for a while, even when I was in college. I worked part-time in security work. And, I hate to say this because I don't mean to, may sound a little funny, but my father was a physician. So in his world, from his generation, he wanted me to do something professional. And I think in his mind at the time, he didn't see law enforcement as something necessarily super professional. He wanted what was best for his son, which was med school, law school, CPA, something like that. And I can't blame him. As a father myself, I look back now and I think he was right, maybe, to try to guide me to something different. But I think, once I finally did get into policing and he saw the different aspects that I was involved in, he softened to the idea.
Right.
But it took me a while. I fought that urge to not go into law enforcement. I guess it was his urge, right? I was trying to follow a different path that maybe wasn't necessarily mine. And then, got married, had a kid, and I kind of stopped fighting it. I said, hey, this is what you know. This is what you seem to like. So I went to the police academy, landed my first job with the Upper Darby Police.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, where did you go to police academy?
Delaware County.
Delaware. Oh, all right. So right out on Malin Road.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Now I know you're a chief now.
Yeah.
Would you be able to handle that academy again? Like, would you be able to do all, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
Fitness tests and this and that?
No, I think, don't get me wrong, you can't compete with some of these 22-year-old, horses that are out there riding around.
Yeah.
But, I think I could compete. I think I could be, at least for my age.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're behind a desk now, right?
Yeah.
So like that's tough when you go from being active to go behind a desk. Like you start to lose. If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Right. So now, it's kind of different for me being behind a desk now because obviously I have the people that work for me. They're doing most of the work while I'm doing chief stuff. I still get out, hit the gym at either 5 a.m. or 4 p.m, whatever the case may be. So I'm still physically active.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't sit behind a desk for 8 hours. I get in my car, drive around the neighborhood, talk to business owners. And I think that's kind of what one of the aspects of law enforcement I really enjoy is being able to get out there, speak to the people that are actually part of the community, contributing to the community, whether it's the nail salon owner or the laundromat, owner, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Just residents who are outside their house, getting out of your car, speaking to them. I think that's what really helps a police department,
Absolutely. And you
Yeah.
have a lot of great business owners in Prospect Park.
Yeah, for
alone.
sure. For sure.
The guy is Bobby at Sneak Peek. He's fantastic.
What a business that's grown into.
You're not kidding. Like I've seen I didn't see his start, but I saw his second shop that was on Prospect Park, that where the electrical place is now. And then all of a sudden he grew into this big, massive thing. I'm like, can I afford you anymore? I was like, look how big this place is.
It's incredible what that young man has done. And
You're not kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's amazing for the community too, because
it's great for us.
Yeah. And you don't have Sherwin-Williams sitting there with the shitty sign still. And, they were gone for years. And then he came in and took it over, and good for him.
I know. I hope he grows twice as big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, John Massey over at Sleight of Hand Barbershop. Like
another fantastic business. You can't get in there. Yeah.
No. And it's hard. And I told like a buddy of mine, he's the barber there, and I go get my haircut from him. And I'm like, I hate your success. he's like, what? I'm like, dude, I used to be able to pinpoint you in a week. I was like, now I was like, I have to wait 3 weeks. I have to schedule everything around you. I was like, but good for you. And I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of great community. The park looks amazing. I love the community aspect of Prospect Park. So you were in Upper Darby were you a detective, or like how did the ranks hit?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll use Upper Darby as the example because each police department is slightly different in terms of rank structure. But so in Upper Darby, you're a patrol officer. You can go into a special unit from there. You can go into a bicycle patrol, detectives, canine, something like that. Or you can just make the transition after 5 years of service. You can become a sergeant.
Oh, cool.
Then after another 2, you can become a lieutenant. And then I think it's another 2 or 3, you become captain, which would be the second highest rank below chief. Yeah.
Got it.
So there are layers, you have to go through. And, the path to those levels is probably a lot different than some of your other guests, what they've had to endure to achieve success probably looks somewhat different, yet somewhat the same as going through the ranks in a police department. Yeah.
Right. Well, success is defined differently by each person.
Right. Sure.
Correct.
Yeah. Sure.
So like if your entire life you just want to be a patrolman, or you don't want to carry any load, like that's what success looks like.
Yeah. And kudos to those men and women that do that. Who choose to serve the public their entire career behind a patrol vehicle, because I have to tell you, it is probably one of the most difficult occupations in the world, because forget about the fact that you're dealing with either hostile people you can't make happy, or just people that just have disdain for police officers. Then you have to do it on a rotating midnight shift, back to day work. Your days off, you may be going to court. You may have some other overtime that you have to do for whatever reason, an investigation, field investigation at some point. Then you throw in the holidays. You're working Christmas. You're working New Year's. You're working New Year's Day, the cleanup. Every Eagles, Super Bowl, Phillies championship. You start putting all those together, and it's easy to see why police officers are probably some of the most stressed people on the planet. I mean, the cumulative stress of working a 25-year career in law enforcement, I mean, I have to hand it to them.
Yeah.
You asked me about going back to the academy, if I could do that. And I could do that easier than I could go back to
being
working a midnight shift.
Wow.
2 weeks of a midnight shift, 2 weeks of day work.
Mm.
It's tiring. It's exhausting. And
Right.
what it does to the human body, I know there's studies out there that can kind of tell you, but until you experience it, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like nurses, right?
Yeah.
When they do those midnight shifts, I'm like, I don't understand how you do it.
And I think that's why there's a strong relationship between nurses and police officers. We always seem to find one another in the hospitals when we have someone undergoing some type of trauma or some type of injury. The nurses and the cops get one another. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So when you were coming up, what
Yeah.
would be the best advice that you would give, like a patrolman that wants to be a chief? Like, how do you bring them up? And how many chief jobs are there? Like, how often does that come up?
Not very often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super competitive,
Mhm.
So
And-
my advice would be you almost have to start networking before you get the actual job, right? Cops hate the thought that they may have to interact with politicians because it's just, they chose a life of service and they chose a life of going to quote unquote get the bad guy, right? They want to go out there and they want to help society. So I think interacting with local politicians is sometimes distasteful for them. But I think it's like any other business, right? Any other entrepreneur that's out there. You have to network, you have to build your network, you have to find people that are going to support your mission. And that's a key part of it. That aside, you still have to do the job, right? It doesn't matter how many people you know if you're not willing to make the sacrifices there are to advance yourself in policing. And advancing yourself in policing, and I guess maybe in some other professions as well, it can take you into some dark spots. I mean, there's a price to pay for success in law enforcement, and that is extended hours, weird hours, getting calls 3 o'clock in the morning. You're home in bed, and hey, we have a homicide. You have to come in and help us work this homicide, and you're just trying to remember your name. You're trying to remember what day it is. It's 3 a.m. You're throwing some clothes on and you're getting out to a crime scene. And so, but you have to do those things. You have to give those things attention if you want to advance your career. And and of course, again, this isn't anything. Patrol officers go through this every day, and they're always at crime scenes first. So, not taking anything away from them.
Yeah.
But if you want to advance your career, especially in a larger department, you're going to have to branch out into some other things. You need to learn the totality of the job if you want some kind of executive level position in policing. Right. Yeah. And it takes you some dark spots.
Have you ever went undercover?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Like some people are deep, right?
Yeah. I wasn't as deep as some people were. Okay. So I don't want to paint the picture I was, but I did do a very brief stint in which I was going undercover, selling stolen property.
Going back to high school and
like I said, it just takes you into some weird spots. And
yeah.
There are some undercover officers who are out there who, again, I mean, hats off to them. They just go into
they dig that stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. But again, like there's a weird price to pay when you start doing that kind of stuff. You retreat back into your home life and everything looks different. Everything feels different. It's just, you're trying to reconnect with your family, and it's hard to do that because you're just, I don't know if it's almost like a personality conflict or just that, you're experiencing all these highs when you're at work, and then you got to come home and now you're changing a diaper. It's
right. Oh, yeah.
Vastly different stuff. And somehow you have to reconnect with your family quickly for your maybe 2 days off, maybe 2 days if you're lucky. So you go back to work. So, yeah.
What was it? Donnie Brasco, right? Like when he went home and,
right.
He started acting like one of the tough guys and, treating his wife and his kid differently. You're like, oh man, you got to like.
That's a whole nother part of success for policing. Like you have to marry the right person.
Right.
I was so fortunate where, like, if there was overtime to be had, or if I had to run out in the middle of the night, I had a wife that would say, go do it.
Yeah.
Go do what you have to do. I'm here.
Right.
I got the kids. I got the family. Go handle things. And that's what I did.
That's
so
amazing.
it is. And if you don't marry the right person,
Right.
you're going to fail quickly.
I
Yeah.
I can definitely attest to that. What is your favorite cop movie? I have to ask this. Now, what paints the better picture? You know, like, is it Bad Boys? You know?
So I don't know if I have a favorite cop movie.
Well, you don't just sit there and watch Cops every day at 4:00, do you?
I can't stand watching law enforcement shows. Like, people,
You live it every day.
I just don't want to.
You know?
I don't want to see it. Right.
Right.
I also don't want to start debunking it, because that gets on my wife's nerves. Right.
Right,
Like,
right,
because
right.
like everything they do on television is nonsense. Like, I love how they get DNA back in a matter of minutes. And it's like it takes us 6 to 8 months to get it back.
Yeah.
So.
Terry hates watching anything on YouTube. He's like, this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm done with this. So he just reads books.
But if I had to pick shows, I would say The Wire.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Great show.
And season 1 of True Detective.
You're not kidding. That's a great episode.
Season 1 of True Detective, actually,
Yeah.
in McConaughey's apartment, there's textbooks that I've read for homicide
Oh, really?
investigations. They're stacked up in his apartment there. Yeah. Practical Homicide Investigations by Vernon Geberth. Yeah, that's in his apartment. And I've seen Vernon speak a handful of times. And yeah, so someone did their research for that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And did you learn anything from the books? Like, did it help you crack a case?
Yeah, I mean, you read things, sure. I mean, you read
Yeah.
things, and it's like
It becomes your subconscious, I guess, at that point.
it's like, really, it's kind of like any other trade.
Mhm.
You see a pattern,
Yep.
you go with the odds that this is, I always say law enforcement is, you really are playing with the odds. If it looks like this, it probably is this, and you quickly learn, especially as a young detective, you quickly learn that people lie to you, but they want to tell you the truth.
Hmm.
So you quickly can see through the lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you talk to enough people. I mean, like, you're interviewing people, you have a business. I mean, I literally have speak to, hundreds, if not thousands of people a year.
Right.
So I'd like to think I know when someone's bullshitting me and when they're not bullshitting me,
Mhm.
So
No, it sounds like you got the eye for it. You're scaring the shit out of me. I'm like, I'm trying to interview you. I'm like, is he going to interview me at all? No, that's really cool.
So that was my path. So I started as a patrol officer. And I was fortunate. I had a few mentors that said to me, hey, stop doing this. Stop associating with these people. Start associating with these people. These are the cops you want to follow.
Yeah.
That old guy that's been around forever is going to just bring you down a dark path, whatever the case might be.
Right.
I'm certainly not besmirching anyone, but and they showed me the right way.
Yeah.
And so after 2 years, and this is where my connections came through. And like I said, advocating for yourself and having a network. So after 2 years, I put in for the detective division. I could have gone to a bicycle unit or detectives. And
Right.
my wife said, I don't want to see you in those biking pants. So can you please, please go to detectives?
I thought that'd be like a sexy thing for the wife, to see them
Apparently
like
not
cops
for me. I don't think
Nah.
anyone wants to see that in me.
I was gonna say you're big as a barn, dude. Like, I wouldn't even want to get sideways with you.
Well, speaking of getting big as a barn, that's where detective life led me, and not big in the right way.
Why? Because detectives aren't allowed the donuts, or
Well, no, I mean, I became big as in
Sorry.
fat because there's always food. There's someone always donating food
Yes.
every day. I must have gone through 6 cups of coffee a day, if not more. There was always a pot of coffee on. So you're living this lifestyle where the case in front of you becomes the important thing. Got to solve this. My wife and I had no money when we first got married, like nothing. We had one car. I would walk to work in uniform, and sometimes a SEPTA bus would pick me up and say, come on, I'll give you a ride down to the station. Like, we had zero money. And so when the opportunity for overtime was out there, I took it. Even more so in detectives, like I had that internal pressure of I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be the best cop I could be, the best detective I could be. But I also had a lot of external pressure, your sergeant, your lieutenant, the captain, chief, anyone
Right.
looking at you, say, are you going to solve this? We need this solved. And that really, and I have a lot of functioning anxiety anyway. So like that kind of pressure, I thrived on it, but it also kind of killed me.
Right.
It was a tremendous load. And, but so when you got those, you don't think to there was no such thing as meal prepping back then, right? You went to Wawa, McDonald's, wherever it was, or the food that someone donated. You were always picking at something. And I got big as a house. I was closer to 300 than 200 at one point.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it was unhealthy. And, but again, we talked about the price you pay.
Yeah.
For being successful, and for that was one of them in policing.
Now, I'm going to go off topic real quick because you brought up something that will resonate at home with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You and your wife had no money.
Right.
You were walking to work. You were doing what you needed to do to make sure you and your family worked.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And your wife was taking care of the house. You were taking care of the money. You were taking care of the bills.
Yeah.
When does that turnover for people normally? Because a lot of people, like, we're Veruca Salt in the millennials. We want it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not waiting for this shit. Like, I can't be 40 years old and keep waiting. Like, how long do I wait in this life, and how much do I work, and how much do I go through this to get what I want? Because I've noticed when me and my wife bought our first house when, we were 30, and we loved it. Then I was like, well, when can I get my truck, or when can I get my shore house? Like, I want this all now. Like, when can I do this?
Right.
And then you just start working and you keep going. And, I'm still at a point where I don't have everything that I want, but I got to be patient. So when did it turn over for you when you were finally able to take your wife out to a proper dinner, and enjoy yourselves? Not the struggle where you're like, oh shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't get the salad today.
Right. It took a couple of years probably before in law enforcement when I didn't even get into how long it took me to find a job in law enforcement. That was another thing. Now you can get a cop job pretty easily now. I mean, it's so in demand.
Yeah, they're taking people off the street now, right?
Right. Back then I was like one of maybe 400 people applying for a job. So, you know what's funny, Mike, because in a lot of senses, I don't know if that's even happened to me yet, because I just said to my wife the other day, why is it I still want more? Why? We've made it. Like, we have a lot of those things that you mentioned.
Successful
Why am I
family.
still seeking things? So I don't know if it ever happens for some people. I think it's just really what you're willing to sacrifice to obtain that till you get to that place, right? Are you willing not to get the $4 coffee at I don't even know, what does it cost at Starbucks? I don't go.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah. I mean, you can make it, you can probably get to that point easier if you're willing to sacrifice some of those things.
Absolutely.
And, we didn't call it like, I know everyone today and talks about the struggle and the pain is what makes you who you are, and you're getting through the pain and getting through the adversity. Like, I got to be honest with you. I never really thought of it that way. For me, it was just the process. Just get out there and work.
Right.
I didn't think about what the pain was. And, I don't know if that's good or bad. I know, I think it's probably good that millennials and younger question some of the things that go on in life. I actually have a lot of respect for millennials. There's a couple of them that work for me, and their inquisitiveness and their desire to possibly change things. I like that. but I think, I think I got off topic there, but
No,
I
you're
think the
good.
thing is like sacrifice where you're
Mm.
willing to sacrifice to get to that comfort level. You know,
Right.
you might be able to go out to dinner, maybe after 5 years of being in your career, you're able to sacrifice it. But we didn't call it that back then. You just went to work. You
Right.
just worked, you worked, you worked, you worked, and that was it. At least if you wanted to achieve a certain, level of success, that's what you did. And you didn't think about the deep thoughts behind it, like,
Right.
hey, in this pain is where you will find the success. No
Yeah.
one thought that deeply about it back then.
Yeah, no, I think that's more of an Instagram crush.
Yeah.
Nowadays is like the pain is what shapes you and
Yeah.
this and that. It's like, nah, dude, go to work.
No, that's it.
You know, and it doesn't have to be painful. It just has to be like you said, where you sacrifice certain things
Yeah.
to achieve other things
Yeah.
that you want. I worked with a gentleman at the Navy Yard, fantastic guy, and he ate the same food every day.
Yeah.
It was a little thing of tuna, and it was like he would always have a water, and it was, I think, it was like 4 or 5 crackers, right? But they were portioned out. Like you
That's
like
great.
you
That's
see a
great.
lot of people bring in like a box of crackers. No, this dude had like 4 or 5. And I asked him, I was like, what the hell do you eat this every day for? He's like, well, we went out for a steak dinner last week.
Yeah.
He's like, I feed enough for my belly to get me energy to get through the day.
Yeah.
He's like, but, we're sending our kids to school and they took them out to a nice dinner. And he's like, we had steak. He's like, it was awesome. He's like, but he's like, my sacrifice is that I don't eat steak during my week, or I don't buy food during my week. He's like, I eat enough to fuel me
Right.
so that I can get through my day and make that money and then go home to my beautiful house, my beautiful wife, my beautiful family. And he's like,
I
and
love that.
that's where
Yeah, I love that.
yeah. And he's like, that's
Was he a
where
happy person?
of course he was happy.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit. Like
Right.
he's eating the same thing every day, knowing that he's going to get a steak once a month with his family. And he's he's sending his kids to school and he sees the smiling faces like that. He's like, that's more energy than what a cheesesteak's going to do for me
Right.
during my day.
Right.
So I kind of took that. I was like, man, I wish I could be like that.
You know what? I learned quickly wearing a bulletproof vest. Don't eat cheesesteaks or anything. That thing's compressing around your belly. It's the last thing you want to eat.
I was going to say, you don't want to be bloated
You
because that
don't want
thing's
to, no.
fitted to you,
No,
right?
I learned the hard way a couple times.
Yeah, and if you're-
you want to
you
eat
know,
light,
if you started at 220 and then you're 300,
yeah,
like, I'm sorry, bro, your
no, right. Right.
bulletproof vest is no longer
No,
doing
that's-
justice
no,
for us.
No, it's like a postage stamp on you. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, no, I believe in those sacrifices. I believe in having, whatever, a modest, humble sandwich when, at work, or like, I'm all into that. Like, so, I mean, for me, again, getting back to your original question, it's just, what are you willing to sacrifice
Right.
to achieve that?
Yeah.
Right. What is making you happy?
And that's a thing a lot of people can't answer.
Yeah.
Especially, the shitty diets that everybody has.
How's your diet?
Awful. Yeah, I hate it.
Do you want to tell me about it?
Yeah, sure. I eat like shit. If like I'll wake up, if I don't do a workout, I might pick off what the kids are eating that day,
Mhm. Yeah.
And then when when it comes to lunch, if I'm sitting there running from this business or that business and the wife's not around, and the kids are in school or this and that, like, I might go to Nick's.
Yeah.
I might go to Nick's.
How do you feel after?
Like lethargic, like just don't have any energy.
How about mentally?
Mentally, even worse. Mentally, you sit there and you're like, well, you sat there, you spent $50 on lunch.
Yeah.
Because you have, one beer
Right.
with your sandwich and your
Right.
gravy fries.
Right.
And I think it's Jay Shetty. He says it the best. He goes, You know, everybody wants that burger. Of course, everybody wants that burger. But think about after the burger, how you feel about that burger before you eat the burger.
Right.
You know, like if you start thinking in terms like that, I just never caught that concept.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you said, you were always on the run, McDonald's, Starbucks, wherever.
Yeah.
You know, the food that was coming in from everywhere else. My wife would leave like bowls of candy out in the beginning of our relationship. I'd walk by and mindlessly graze and take a handful and throw it in my mouth. Now she leaves bowls of fruit. So what do? I go by and start picking on the fruit.
Get some grapes.
Yeah, grapes,
Yeah.
strawberries, blueberries. I dig it.
Yeah.
You know, but like if there's chips out, bread's probably my biggest killer. Oh, thanks, buddy. That looks absolutely awful.
Good
It looks like tomorrow's digestive tract.
So what I'm hearing from you, Mike, is that you feel your wife is really been an impetus in a catalyst in your diet.
Of course, yeah. She definitely wants to make us eat better.
Right.
And I'll sit there and, you know, there'll be a Wednesday night. It's like 4:00. I'm exhausted.
Right.
You know, I've been at it since 4:30. Go to the business, do this.
Yeah.
And then the kids get home and they're hungry. And she's like, well, what do you want to do for dinner? And I'm like, you know what? Let's just do Chinese. Like, I don't feel like, you know, the kids love Chinese and I don't feel like doing anything.
You're on the go a lot. I mean, you're constantly you're physically on the go, right?
Sometimes, last like month, I've been more at home,
Right.
trying to get things done for the expansion of the business. And even at home, you become lazy. You know, I have fresh food in the fridge, but here, I'm ordering a pizza and whacking an entire imperial pizza.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know,
You can do the whole thing easily.
And then
yeah.
my wife's like, dude, where the hell did the pizza box come from?
Right.
I was like, well, it came from Imperial. And she goes, well, where the hell's the pizza? I said, well, it's in here now. And she's like, great. She's like, now I got to deal with your funky ass all night.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I got you. But, you know, we do tend to get lazy.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you don't have a great mentor, you're pushed off into the wrong direction. And then you're gonna start doing and acting as they are. So your mentors were a huge
part
of like as being a patrolman. You had two paths. You could have went with the guys who are old and crusty and, you know, very, what do you call it? Like chips on their shoulder that they didn't make chief or they didn't make lieutenant.
Right.
But there's an attitude problem on that round.
Yeah.
And then you go over here and the guys are, you know, they're eating salads or they're bringing their own lunch to work and they're bringing their own coffee and only having one, not 6 pots. Crazy. That's how you made a chief. But, you know, like that route is a whole different ballgame. So you got two choices at that point.
So it's interesting. You brought up the, I'll use your words, old crusty cops. What do you think made them that way?
I would say their attitude on their own. You know, because I've seen it many, many times where, you know,
in a lot of professions.
In a lot of professions,
Right.
yeah. Like, I mean, you look at any type of trade, so like Boeing, Navy Yard, any locals, like you get the old guys who, you know, never run their own crew, but they got the 40 years experience and how dare you, youngin', tell me how to do it.
Right.
And they build that attitude and they're like, well, this company won't hire me to a higher level because they don't like me or I did something stupid to them.
Yeah.
And this guy only got it because he's got pictures of the boss's wife, you know? And like you get these like weird things that come out of people and you're like, no, dude, if your attitude is different, you would have probably got up.
Right. So just to go along
You got to
with
play the game.
Yeah. To go along with what you're saying, I mean, and this is coming from a person who has made plenty of mistakes
Mm-hmm.
in his professional career, in his personal life. So I don't want anyone to sit here and think that I'm standing on, some kind of pedestal lecturing anyone, because certainly I'm the last person to do that. However, I would say that, especially in law, you mentioned a number of different professions, but certainly in law enforcement, between the public, your peers, politicians, you have a lot of external pressure on you. You can just go your whole life riding that wave and surviving it. But if you want to thrive, to your point, you need to have that attitude where that's not going to affect me.
Right.
I'm going to keep on this course that I want to keep on. When I first started, and I still get banged up about this a lot. When I first started social media, our accounts in Upper Darby exploded. I remember saying to Mike Chitwood, I think we need to get on this Twitter thing. And I never forget, after 2 days, I said to him, we have 15 followers. We have 100 followers. I was so excited. Then we had a couple of incidents that, I injected some humor into, and it blew up into, I think when I left, we had maybe 18,000 followers on Twitter, something like that. And I couldn't believe the success. But let me tell you something, and that was the course I chose. And it didn't matter how many homicides I solved or how many cases I brought home, how many victims' families I made happy. I was now the social media guy.
Yeah. Terry, what the fuck? Hire him, please. Holy moly, dude. 18,000 followers?
Something like that,
I got
and then another
10.
20-something on Facebook. But, I remember the Philly police social media guy calling me and say, they would never allow me to do what you're doing. I'm like, give it time, they will. And sure enough, now some cop accounts are very cringy and they're forcing their humor, but I was right there at the beginning of it where there was a little grace given to it. And, but now you're always going to be the social media guy now. It doesn't matter how many crimes I've solved or all that, or what I do as a supervisor, how I treat the people that work for me.
Right.
We haven't even gotten into leadership yet, but I tell you, I kind of, that's kind of who I've become, the social media guy.
That's awesome.
Is it? I don't know.
Hey, look, man.
I mean, I think back, hey, where were you at 4 a.m. when I was doing a search, or 6 a.m. when I was doing a search warrant, or whatever, and breaking out someone's door because there's the guy on the other side of that door that killed somebody.
Yeah.
That was what I remember from policing.
I think you're looking at it wrong, though. You're building the police to 18,000 followers, right? What you did was reverse that. You have now 18,000 people that are linked to anything that can help the police department as well. And you link that community to the police department. And now every community is now linking to their police department to find out what's going on.
So to your point, I'm trying to say this with as much humility as possible. We were able to solve a lot of crime through social media.
I'm sure.
You throw up one picture and you have several thousand followers. Hey, I know who that guy is. It's this guy. Leave me out of it, please, but I can tell you who it is. And we solved quite a bit of crime.
That's
through
amazing.
Social media, especially during the early days. Yeah,
that helps.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
You can't. What was the author's name? You can't read those books anymore. You just go right to social media.
Yeah,
and
it's all there. Right.
Well, now you could probably use ChatGPT to solve the rest of your crimes.
ChatGPT actually helps me with policy creation. I got news for you. Yeah, it certainly helps me when I'm writing policy.
Yeah.
And
hey, who committed this crime over here?
Yeah, there's so many wonderful police chiefs out there. So many wonderful police officers. I mean,
my wife's uncle was a police chief.
Where?
Ridley.
In Ridley?
Yeah, Fran Pacelli.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you know him.
Oh yeah, I know.
Great dude.
I know his son. Yeah.
He's he's one of those guys that you just don't fuck with.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the old guard.
Yeah.
That was the old guard.
Yeah.
You didn't mess with them. You didn't. I think probably the way I manage a police department is a lot different than the way he did and Fran did, or even other, people that I came through the ranks with,
Right.
Um, but I have to say overall, I know there's a segment of the population that can't stand police officers, and I get it to the sense that to the extent where we have much to learn. There's a lot we can do better. But I want to tell you, the vast majority of police officers that I personally know are exceptional human beings that just want to do the job.
And go home.
Go home. Sometimes they let the stress get to them in the wrong way, where they don't have the proper channel to release that stress. And tie that into what I said earlier about working these crazy schedules. And then on your day off, you're going to become the chief. You're going to come in for court, and work overtime. So, yeah.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you talk about a lot of the stresses that cops have. I couldn't even imagine. I'm a gun owner, and I can't even imagine the stress that would happen if anybody would ever walk through my house. And you guys have to carry them, and you come into criminals every time, right? And just a routine traffic stop, like it could be somebody that is having a bad day with a gun.
Yeah.
And that stuff's scary. Is there a support system for cops? Because, I know cops are, a few horrible incidences that happen, and you never want to deal with that. And nobody gives a shit. Like, we love that you guys serve our community, but we don't actually give a shit about your feeling.
Right.
It's
your job.
It's your job, right? You get paid.
Pick that job.
I pay your salary with
Right.
my taxes.
Right.
Bullshit. What do cops do to be able to get that release? Is there any programs that are out there for cops?
I mean, there is one program coming up shortly. I mean, obviously we have health insurance, you could talk to a counselor, right? Hopefully you have some good friends you can trust in policing. Not always the easiest thing, because it's hard to trust people with your deepest emotions, right? Regardless of what your career path is. But when you're talking about being a cop and now you're showing weakness in your mind, it's a weakness that you might be showing someone.
Right.
You don't always want to share that with your friends or your peers. But there is something through MVP recovery coming up called SHIELD. And I have to talk about my friend. He's a corporal in Ridley, Leo Doyle. And he's spearheading this campaign where it's so new, I don't have a whole lot to speak of. We are attending meetings for it later in the month or next month. And so hopefully police officers, at least in Delaware County, are going to be able to, attend a program like this or participate in a program like this. So, hey, shout out to Corporal Doyle and what he's doing, SHIELD through MVP recovery. Yeah. And, it's something that's needed because, like I said, cops we don't like sharing a whole lot of that negativity that happens to us. Again, you don't want the perception of being weak or you can't handle the stress. And I'm telling you, the stress could be Mrs. Smith on Main Avenue, who keeps calling you about a car that's parked too close to her driveway. She doesn't like it, all the way up to, the business owner that just got robbed. And, what are we doing about his robbery and everything in between? Like, people, you hear on the news, you get the blurbs on the news, right? Police officer shot, police officer shooting, police officer involved in a car crash. You don't hear about the police officer getting spit on at a domestic.
My neighbor.
Your neighbor spit on someone?
No, he's a police officer.
And he got spit on.
It's wild you said that, because he got spit on.
Right.
and it landed in his eye, and like the chick just,
it's a whole thing.
and you got to go through. I'm like,
Right.
what? You got spit on, dude? Wipe it off and go walk away.
Yeah.
He said, no, you got to go.
There's
He's like,
no
I had a
protocol.
test. I had
Yeah.
to go through protocols.
Yeah.
He's like, I was out of work for a couple of days. I'm like,
Yeah, because if you end up being sick from that, then you're like, all of a sudden, well,
wow,
you have to show
that's
something's job
that's
related. Yeah.
incredible.
No, I mean, there's so many things that people do not see about policing, and it's our fault maybe for not expressing it more. But again, you don't want to be the victim. You don't want to be the cop that's the victim all the time. But I'm telling you, on a daily basis, cops are getting spit on, shoved, punched, and these do not make the news. These things they don't rise to the level of a 15-second clip on Action News.
That's
It's
not
nothing.
media. That's not
Right.
media. That's not
Right.
going to gain the attention.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm not crying about it. I've been punched, I've been
Right.
shoved, I've been spit on. I'm not crying about it. But the thing is, the reality is probably more than people actually believe it is.
Right. I feel bad for the person that shoved you. What happened to them? Are they all right? Like, did we see that on the news?
No, everything's fine. You know, I have to be honest, I'm a pretty patient person.
God bless you.
I like to think of myself as a super patient person. And I think I can probably tolerate a lot of disrespect because it's just humans being humans.
Right.
They show their worst sides, you know, when they're experiencing trauma or when they're in despair. Like, I think probably what I owe a lot of my success to is being able to see the humanity of people. And instead of just, like you say, just like attacking someone who spit on you, I'm not suggesting that cops shouldn't defend themselves at all, and not by any means. But
Right.
I am saying composure may be what separates great cops from excellent cops.
I can see that.
Composure, compassion. What if this is your family member?
Controlling your emotion.
Right.
Yeah, take your emotion out of it at that point, right?
This could be your family going through this. How do you reconcile going hands-on with somebody that maybe you didn't need to? And I'm not advocating for people to spit on cops, and I'm not advocating for cops not to use the proper use of force.
Right.
What I am saying is, for me personally, a certain amount of compassion went a long way for me.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
I think especially if you're interrogating someone that committed a homicide. That person did the worst possible thing a person can do. And yet somehow you have to find the reason why they did that. And you have to figure out, for the sake of the victim's family, why, what happened. Tell me the truth. What happened?
Do you put them in a little room?
There is a little room.
Yeah, the little room is like really uncomfortable.
Oh, it's uncomfortable for me too.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing this.
I like the other side of it sounds even worse. Like, I don't want to go in that room because I know what he did.
Yeah.
All I want to do is just take him. Do you still have nightsticks? Like, I would love to take a nightstick and just beat the shit out of somebody.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah, you don't have nightsticks
No,
anymore?
again, like I said, I mean,
Because you'll break real easily, right?
beating the shit out of somebody is not it's not the way to go.
Man, sometimes you just,
again, police officers are allowed to use certain amounts of force. And, you know, listen, if I'm in a fight for my life, I'm going to do what I got to do to come home. You know, I suspect at my age, treachery is going to have to be involved. But I'll do what I have to do to go home.
You know, I don't blame you at all. You know what you should do? This is what you should start advocating, right? Anybody that you arrest, you should link up with the UFC. And these criminals have to get in a cage for 4 rounds with a UFC fighter and just get their tank and blasted, you know? And see if they start, like, they'll start chirping about, oh, I know the biggest drug dealer here. I know this guy.
Right. I'm sensing you're a big fan of corporal punishment. Yeah.
No. I just have a lot of animosity towards people that do stupid shit.
I think when you see people doing shit, over the course of a 30-year career.
I don't know how you do it.
Over the course of a 30-year career, you see people doing a lot of stupid shit.
And when they say dumb things, how hard is that for you? Like, oh, you're just pulling me over because I'm this, or I'm, you got nothing better to do. Like,
I got to be honest with you. I kind of just shake that off.
Right.
Like, that's
right.
like, I don't know. That's like telling an old joke, an old dad joke for
Right.
me. It's just like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like,
I like that joke.
I go up
That's
to
awesome.
a car. If I pull over a
Right.
car, and I still do pull over a car now,
Yeah.
I know people think I'm behind a desk just doing social media and doing whatever I'm doing. But, if I pull over a car, I walk up, hey, I'm Chief Maddona of the Prospect Park Police Department. Here's why I pulled you over. I don't do the whole, do you know why I pulled you over?
Yeah.
I make it very clear why I pulled you, what we're doing, because I know that kind of stuff is coming.
Right.
Oh, you just pulled me over. You have a quota.
Yeah.
It's the end of the month. It's the end of the month.
Hold on. Is that bullshit?
Of course it's bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Do you get a bonus at the end of the month?
Of course not. A bonus? No. Look, for a traffic citation, a municipality, so say I give you a citation that's worth $150.
Yeah.
The local government may get about $10 or $12 of that money.
What about you?
What about me? I don't get anything from
I
that.
don't care about the local municipality.
Why would I get anything over
well,
that?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
like
get
a patrol,
salary.
like a
My
patrol.
salary is what I get.
I was going to say, a patrol officer ain't going to give a shit unless it's going in his pocket, right?
What are you talking about?
Nobody cares about the local municipality. Like, we don't care that the more money. Like, if I'm a patrolman, I'd be like, I'm not pulling you over. This is more paperwork.
What I'm saying is these traffic citations aren't money makers for anybody.
Oh, Jesus.
They're not money makers for municipalities. They're not necessarily money makers for local courts, and there's certainly no money in it for a police officer. I mean, that's just can't happen. I mean. I don't even know what you're saying.
Well, it's not what I'm saying. It's it's the persona that we were taught.
Well, let me say this. There's no such thing as a quota.
Okay.
Are there police departments somewhere in this country that do? I mean, maybe, but we don't. And I think the way I like to say to my people, or the people I know, the people that work for me is, hey, you took an oath. You took an oath to uphold the law.
Hmm.
Part of that is, traffic enforcement. Cops hate traffic. I mean, there are a few that really thrive on it, but I have to tell you, most cops do not want to pull over a car.
Sounds awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Not to mention the inherent danger you spoke of earlier with someone in a car.
Dude,
but,
do you have the people that keep their windows rolled up and they just put their?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. That's when I'm taking the Billy Club. Is that what it's still called? Is that a Billy Club? And you just smash the window and be like, dude, just give me your license. I'm done with this. I don't have any time for your nonsense.
I mean, with modern technology, there's ways around that.
Right.
Right. There are, you can run the license plate. You can get a name.
I was going to say, you
can
have
pull up the
everything.
name. You have it
you
right
need.
there. Right.
You're just trying to have some compliance.
In some areas of the country, in some agencies, the driver of the vehicle has to comply with you.
Yeah.
And it's a misdemeanor, or it's a more serious crime than in our area if they don't. So, yes. So some of them take it.
Sounds exhausting. Sounds like talking like politics with people.
It's a fair point, because really the whole job can be exhausting.
I'm sure.
I really, really enjoy being a cop, but there are days where you're like, wow, man, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
I would say that's the same for anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure Terry back there, he's probably like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. Sometimes you wonder, like, dude, if I just go, like, you look at Office Space, right?
Yeah.
When he goes out and he just gets a job doing construction, he's like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm sick of this.
Right.
But he loved doing construction. Like, he's happy doing, like, sometimes you think about, certain things and it's like, yeah, it would be easier, but I do love what I do.
One time I was on page 8 of what was going to be maybe a 14 or 15 page homicide report, and the computer shut down. I lost the entire report. And I think I just left I think I just got in a car and disappeared for a little while. And I was at one point, I was like, oh God, I'm so sick of this, but those things happen, like you said, in any profession.
Yeah.
And when you're a cop, especially as you rise through the ranks, the spotlight is on you and it gets brighter and brighter as you rise. And people are waiting for you to make a mistake. They're hoping for you to make a mistake. And you have to be so careful. And that's just another part of the job. You're a public figure. So forget about the crime for a second. Forget about the public pressure. Forget about the pressure from your bosses. Forget about pressure maybe from local politicians. You have the public just like, or others just waiting for you to mess up.
I'm sure. And they're chomping at the bit with their phones ready,
right,
waiting for you to mess up.
You have to hire from the human race.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do dumb things.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's not at the cost of someone's life, you know? And as a chief, I mean, I'm putting guns in the hands of young people, and I'm asking them to constantly make the right decisions. And it is tough to do when you're a human.
So your leadership style, can you discuss a little bit more about that? So how do you bring someone up? Like, have you taken anybody under your wing?
I mean, I like to think to a certain degree, I've done that with most of the people that have worked with me or for me. Leadership is easy. Really, I mean, it's super easy. Listen to your people. They probably know what's best for the organization on the front line. They can share their experiences. While I'm sitting at a desk, they know what's going on out there on the street. And you have to listen to them. You have to give them an audience. You have to give them the equipment they need. Yeah, be fair with them. Right. They're going to mess up. We all are. I have. You have. We're all going to mess up at some point in our career. It's being fair to them at the end of the day and showing that you support them despite their mistake. That's really, I think, one of the key parts of leadership. And I also believe we don't have to be as standoffish as leaders from them as we think we do. I think, developing an appropriate, friendship, so to speak, with them. You're in the trenches with them, especially in policing.
Right.
The last thing I need is for my people to think that I'm unapproachable and I don't care what they think. I do care what they think, and they probably have some ideas that are much better than mine. And I want to hear them, and I don't want to be this unapproachable figure. You got to be able to, really respect one another and be fair to one another.
Absolutely. And that's a great word, is approachable. As a leader, I feel like there's two words in any business or work or job. As a leader, you want to be approachable. Yeah. As a worker, you want to be coachable.
Right.
So I think those two go hand in hand, because if you're not approachable, they're never going to be able to be coachable. And if you're able to coach somebody into doing what they're doing,
right.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in my agency, because I have a phenomenal crew of people, but I've seen officers that are not coachable because they're going to, it's a union, right? They can do the same amount or less work, and their result may be the same depending on the person they are.
So you're no longer in the union as a chief.
I am currently still.
Oh, you are. Yeah. All right. So you can be in
particular position.
So you can be in the union.
It varies from agency to agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I still think there needs to be a clear line of delineation where, like, I'm still the chief of police, even though I am part of the union. I still have to do. I think first and foremost, my responsibility is to the agency.
Right.
Right. And to the people of the borough. Or the township, with Upper Darby when I was there. So I think, it's a juggling act. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to be fair to my people. I have to give them what they need to be successful.
Mhm.
I think they are successful people. You know, I think they all have shown, all demonstrated to me that they're on the right track to being, they could all be chiefs one day.
Mhm.
But I also have to worry about the public. I have to worry about the agency. And, you know, I also have to, you know, in a certain sense, you know, just protect the reputation of the borough.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
No, that's great leadership style.
I think you just got to, like I said, it's just balance,
Right.
balancing all that.
What kind of gun do cops carry nowadays? Are you allowed to say that? I mean, it used to be the 9mm Beretta, right? That used to be like the cop gun.
I think so. Back in the day,
Yeah.
Berettas, and we carry Glocks.
You got the Glock.
We use Glock. I'm a big Glock fan.
Glock 9.
Yeah, we carry a 9.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and there's you know, there's different weapons each department can use. We don't all carry the same thing.
Oh, really?
Although I wouldn't be against that
Right.
if every agency in you know, in a certain area carried the same gun, but every agency carries, like, someone carries a Smith, someone carries a SIG. It varies.
Can they still use a 6-shooter?
No.
No.
I don't know why you would. I mean, they're dependable guns, but you know, the chances are you
What
might.
is it? Lethal Weapon. Murtaugh.
Yeah, with this big,
his
big wheel gun. Yeah, yeah.
But you know, like if I wanted to carry the 38 Special, that was the detective gun, right?
Right.
Like if I wanted the 38 Special, am I able to carry that, or do I
No.
get the issue standard?
Whatever the department says you're carrying, that's what you're carrying.
Oh, no shit.
Now,
Okay.
certain agencies allow for a backup weapon that you could keep on your ankle, and then they'll pretty much give you the choice there.
Oh,
Detectives now carry like a smaller version of whatever the large gun patrol
right.
guys are carrying. So if they're carrying a full size Glock 9mm, then they may have a mini Glock on their waist as a detective. Yeah.
Now, are you the guy that has the badge on the belt clip?
Some days,
Yeah.
yeah.
You wear like how you're dressed today.
Some days,
You'll have it on your clip,
Yeah.
or do you wear the chain?
no chain.
No chain. No, it's not
No.
like the movies. Come on, man.
Some guys wear the chain in an undercover capacity, but I
Okay.
mean, it's kind of telling. I mean, it's kind of a tell for the bad guys if you got a beaded chain on around your neck. I mean,
And you're a chief.
yeah.
Do you have to carry the same gun as everybody else, or do you get
I
a
do.
bigger gun?
No, no, I don't get this.
Like
I have the same size gun,
Glock 40, you know, like
no,
40
no,
cal.
No,
They're
I
like,
mean,
oh, that's the big man.
look, the theory is that if I'm in a shootout with one of my cops and I go down, they can use my magazines for my gun,
Right.
right? Or they can use.
Oh, not against you.
No, no.
I'm like, what?
If I'm down, if I'm injured and I can't
They
shoot,
can use your mag.
yeah, it's got to be interchangeable, right?
And how big of a prick would, like, if, you know, Ridley Township shows up and they're using the Glock 40,
Right.
and you're like, yeah, assholes, like, we can't use any of your clips. You can't use any of ours. You know,
No, it's not like that.
No.
I mean, it's every department's got their taste and their preference, and
Dig it.
it's never been that big of a deal.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would hope you're not in a lot of shootouts.
No, yeah.
The gun, is that state issued? So like you don't have any ownership to it.
The borough would own them, or the municipality that employs you owns them.
Owns the guns.
Yeah.
Okay. So it does it get registered to the actual cop, or does it?
No, it gets registered to the municipality.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
So
it's their gun.
Does that have any issue there?
No.
You know, like if I went into, you know, my buddy's locker over here, took his gun real quick
Right.
and went and fucking did something stupid, would they be able to trace that back to the person or just the municipality? I'm just
So
inquiring minds.
you steal someone's gun.
Yeah.
You go use it in a crime.
Yep.
Do you put it back?
I would, maybe. I don't know if it depends.
Certainly, depending on what you strike, and you could trace it back to a gun. I mean, there's a lot of
You could
Yeah.
trace it back to one cop.
there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in what you just said, but
Yeah.
you could that gun, that bullet belongs to that gun.
You scared me. You started questioning me like I did something wrong.
You like that? Yeah, yeah. It's
You got me.
force of habit. Yeah, yeah.
And get out of jail free cards. Do they work?
No, I don't.
No.
What do you get? You mean like an FOP card?
You tell me.
So-
I'm asking because if I'm, out stupid one night and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think
I
it's-
know Dave Maddona, and they'd be like,
Don't say that,
what?
please.
I might get pistol whipped.
Don't say that, please. Yeah, it depends on who you're. It really depends on who you're talking to. Yeah. Listen, 30 years in law enforcement, I've made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I've also made some people that maybe don't care for me.
Yeah.
It's funny coming up in this profession. And it's only something I've recently learned. I look back on some of the things I did to get where I am. And I feel like at times I may have treated people unfairly, or I may have come down too hard on them. And now I look back at that and I'm like, was I being fair enough? Was I being just enough? Was I being gratuitous with my own power? I don't know.
Right.
And I think about that quite often. And I think about the people that, I may have, I don't want to say harmed along the way, because I don't think I've caused anyone a lot of harm, but disciplining in policing, it can be difficult. There's one of your brothers and or sisters that you have to discipline for, some kind of perceived wrongdoing or something they messed up. And, and then you're working with them, and then you may have to count on them to have your back the next day. And it's like,
Right.
it's just weird. And I look back at, some of the people that I've had to reprimand and or have discussions with, and I often wonder, did I need to do that? So now I can look whenever I'm speaking with an officer that works for me or with me, I always take that into consideration. Hey, how do I correct this behavior while causing the least amount of trauma to the person that I can? It has to be appropriate. I mean, clearly, if they're doing something criminal, that's different. But if it's something like, I don't know, their uniform was dirty, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Maybe back in the day, I would have said to them, hey, you look like shit. Go change that or do whatever. Right. Now it might be more of an approach where like, hey, listen, it's not really what we're trying to portray ourselves here in this police department. So I think, have I softened? Maybe, but do I think I also know better how to use my authority? Yeah, I think so. I
Your
think
guard's up a little differently now.
Yeah, I think, and I think certainly the situation I'm in. I mean, comparing 24 years in Upper Darby to the 6 years I've been in Prospect Park, I mean, world's different. The pressure on me as an individual, it's still there, but maybe not in terms of the crime.
Right.
So that takes a little bit of pressure off you. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. When we do have a crime occur in Prospect, and my people will tell you, it's like, that's it. This is getting solved. I don't care what we have to do. Let's all get together. Let's figure out how we're going to solve this crime. And boy, the people that work for me, fantastic, fantastic jobs, fantastic young people that know how to use technology, know how to write thorough search warrants, and know how to get to bad crime. Extremely pleased with them.
I was gonna say it'll make or break if you have a strong team or a bad team. It'll make or break your area.
Yeah, I mean,
like you'll get through it, but
yeah,
it makes your life a whole lot easier as well as theirs.
Sure. You have to seek out if you're in a situation, if a police chief or a leader is in a situation where they have a couple bad people, it's going to make it harder for them. But you seek out the good people, and unfortunately, those good people get a little bit more pressure put on them.
Now, do cops get assigned an area, like if you're a mailman, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, you just come in, you're like, all right, you're getting this area that nobody wants,
Right.
but this is where you got to start.
Yeah.
Is that how it is for cops? Like, hey, officer, Madonna, you're going over here
Right.
for 6 years, or do you have to apply for positions at different stations?
Again, it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll use what I know, Upper Darby, for example. The young men and women that just came out of the academy and are in great shape and they're go-getters. They're in the busier part of town.
Yeah.
They're in the part of town. They don't really get a say in it. They're in the part of town where we need young, energetic people, and it's going to assist them too, because it's going to give them greater exposure
Mm-hmm.
to various crimes, different types of people. So it's going to help them grow
Mm-hmm.
in police work.
Okay.
So if you're younger, you're going to be in the busier areas.
Right.
Right. We need someone to go on a foot pursuit. It ain't going to be me. Right. You want those young studs that are out there that are going to, track someone down.
Right.
And then, other assignments come along and they can put in for it. If there's a quieter part of town, that someone may want to come out of the quieter part of town and be a little bit more active. So you switch them up, you mix and match. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think to get a well-rounded police officer in a community, and like we'll use Delaware County or even surrounding counties, you have to expose them to a bunch of different aspects of policing and of how people live. Yeah.
But I do have to ask you, what's an FOP card?
So the Fraternal Order of Police gives out cards to members, and you can give it to my wife if she's lost somewhere and needs help, needs assistance. She can show her FOP card to a police officer and say, "Hey, I need to know where I'm going here. It's dark. I'm lost." And that police officer hopefully will give the courtesy to anybody, but certainly identifying yourself as someone married to a police officer or the child of a police officer.
So it's not a get out of jail free card.
You will no. It should never be used for that. I'm sorry, and I'm definitely not going to be giving you one.
I was going to say, because I may be whipping
not gonna be
around
giving
Prospect
you-
Park this weekend. I might just have a bottle of Jack and be like, you know what? I know Dave Maddona.
I'm imploring you not to do that.
I know. So, all right, that's pretty cool. So you were telling me before the show about a podcast that you were thinking about starting.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking about it.
All right. Can we say the name?
No.
Okay.
I mean, oh, sure. Why not? I
No,
don't care.
you're good.
I don't care.
No,
Yeah.
well, why? Because I got 2 followers?
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Look, if I do decide to embark on this whole podcasting thing,
Right.
it's going to be super positive. It's going to be, while it will be pro law enforcement, certainly, there's a lot law enforcement can learn and things we can correct. But, I think just over the people you meet I've met so many interesting people over 30 years that I would love to just have a conversation with. And after interviewing, thousands of people during the course of my career, homicide suspects, homicide, witnesses,
Right.
and, shoplifters and everything in between. I mean, I think I just really like speaking to people. I like it. And you didn't realize a couple times I was zinging you with a couple questions during the course of our interview. And it's just the nature of who I am.
My heart's pounding.
Yeah.
I feel like I
It's
did
just-
something
I think
wrong.
you're lying. No. It's just the nature of who I am, and it's just an interesting forum. And I'd like to promote policing. I'd like people to get a better view of what police officers, the rank and file cops that are on the street every day, what it is they go through. And you don't always get a clear picture of that from the current media, and especially in the area I work in Delaware County, densely populated, lots of cops who I admire. And, hopefully I can give them a little bit of a voice. So if we do it, we're going to be calling it Cop Out.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Cop Out. I'll be out of my element.
Cop out
I'll
of young.
be out of
Cop
my.
out of
I'll
young
be out of the
junk.
department. What?
Cop out of Young Junk. That's who. That's who. That's what Terry is.
Yeah.
He runs Young Junk.
I see. Sorry,
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that right away. I'm old. Like I'm knocking on the door of 60. So
60.
yeah, knocking on the door of 60. So I mean,
Damn, you look good.
thanks, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
got
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But it's been a long road, and I have a lot to share with people, and we'll see if it's going to happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you who's going to hate it. Cops.
Really?
Cops will hate it. Yeah.
Why? God, because they're going to expose.
Well, you know what I think it is for cops? Like, we don't like, most cops don't like a lot of attention. It's the old, I do this job because it's my job. And,
Right.
But I didn't get where I am waiting for approval from other people.
Mm.
I like doing what I like doing.
Yeah,
And I could be
absolutely.
dead in 20 years. I just want to keep moving forward, pushing forward with the things I want to do.
Hell
And,
yeah.
if I get someone's approval, great. If I don't, that's also fine.
Right.
People get on me all the time for being on social media. I don't care. Like,
You're the social media guy.
I love embracing the community.
Yeah.
I love giving filling the community in on what we're doing. I like advocating for the police officers that work for me.
Yeah.
They're doing tremendous work, and I want the public to know about that. And I really don't care who hates it or loves it or whatever.
When you hit me up on Instagram,
Yeah, I saw the people you were interviewing.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Who the hell is this?" And my wife's like, "David Maddona." She's like, "He's the police chief over in."
Well,
I'm like, "How the hell do you know that?" Like you're like
No,
I'm like, "How do you know
yeah.
this?" I don't know shit. So she's always on
well,
social media.
I saw that you had a couple of mutual friends on.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah. Brian
right.
and Mike,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They were awesome. And Brian
and Lou
hit,
Faris too.
and you
Yeah,
know Lou.
I know the Faris family very well. Yeah.
He is a solid dude.
Oh, they all
You
are.
know,
Yeah.
I appreciated getting to know him more.
Yeah.
Appreciating and getting to know you more. What would be one of the biggest things that we haven't covered that you would like to tell my 2 followers that you seem to not give a shit about?
Did I convey that some way? I'm sorry if I did.
No, you're cool. You're good.
I think listen, I've been very blessed
Yeah.
in my career. I worked extremely hard through my career, but I've also been in the right places at the right time. And I think just putting aside what other people may think, don't think, following the road that you've laid out for yourself, attacking. Stop worrying about the little things. Stop worrying about whether it's the right time or the wrong time, and you just do it.
Right.
That's what's guided me. Like, I every rank that I attained, I'd had to take a test for, a lengthy written test. And when I tell you I was fanatical about getting promoted each time, I was bringing textbooks on the beach. And I remember my wife saying, what are you doing? And that's what it takes. And you just have to figure out what it takes to get ahead for you, for whatever it is you're going through, and attack it with no remorse, get after it. And like, that's how you're going to succeed, and networking with the right people.
Right.
Yeah.
No, fantastic advice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Chief Maddona, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
being on
having
the
me.
show.
It was a lot of fun.
It
Yeah.
was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. Very excited to have you on. I'm still waiting for my get out of jail free card. And when you see me firing guns and driving through Prospect Park all crazy, don't forget about me.
I'm going to implore you not to do that. Please do not do that.
Well, because I like capital punishment. Yes, I understand. You're going to pistol whip me. No, hey, I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Godspeed on your podcast. I hope
we'll see.
I hope you're the best, and
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of great knowledge to give out to the youth and
Thanks.
anybody that's aspiring to be a cop or anybody that just actually wants to hear about cop stories.
Yeah.
I think I think it would be great.
See what we can do.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, hey, thank you, Terry. Thank you, Young Junk.
Thanks, Terry.
I appreciate everything. Again, studio is amazing. Thank you for the prompter on everything, Terry. Chief Madonna, hey, looking forward to
Mike,
everything
thanks, yeah.
and have a great time, man.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Got it.